Hi everyone, this is Pam, the art teacher at Synergy School in San Francisco, and checking in with you today to show you a few things about drawing with pencils. These are going to be graphite pencils. Graphite is the mineral that you find in the inside. It's often called the lead, although there is no lead in it. I'm going to start by showing you the difference between the different hardnesses and softnesses of pencils in my set here, which is from Blick Art Studio. So I'm going to start with the H's. I'm going to press as hard as I can with this pencil, and you'll notice that the value, which is the lightness of it, is very, very, very light. This is a 6H. One of the ways to remember the symbols that are on the pencils is that if you see an H means hard. And if the pencil is hard, you're going to get a very, very light mark with it. My next one here is a 4H, slightly darker. They get really sharp lines, these hard pencils, because they don't wear out quickly. Here's a 2H. So you might be wondering, why would I want to use one of these really light pencils? And the benefit of using one of these would be that you can sketch very lightly without much effort. I know that some of you, when you draw, you might have trouble doing very light lines. You're kind of heavy-handed. This is a way to get a light line without having to worry about pressing too hard. Now there's a pencil in here, this one here, called an F. F stands for fine point, meaning that you can sharpen it to a very fine point, so it's a pretty hard pencil. My next one here is an HB. The interesting thing is that an HB pencil is the equivalent of a number 2 pencil that we use for our testing and is really common in all the schools here. My next pencil up, 2B. So the way I remember B is B stands for black. A B pencil is a softer pencil, so the higher the number next to the B, the softer it's going to be, the blacker it will be. Is blacker a word? I don't think so. This one's just a B. Looks like I got my order mixed up. That should come first. My next one here is a 3B. I don't know if you can hear all the sound effects of city life in San Francisco with sirens going on right now. Here's a 4B. 5B, they're getting really soft now. And finally, my last one in my set is a 6B. Now they do go higher than that. I have another pencil here that's made by Prismacolor called an ebony pencil. And I believe that an ebony pencil, this is the ebony, might be an 8B. One of the things to know with drawing is that if you draw really lightly on your paper when you're sketching and you want to erase, it's pretty easy to get those marks off your paper. Not as much with an ebony, but you get the idea. But if you press hard, it's a lot harder to erase. And what's happening is the graphite is being pushed deep into the fibers of the paper, and you're going to be left with a little ghost of what you drew. So one of the ways to avoid that is either to draw really light or use a hard pencil. I have a couple other pencils here. This is a woodless pencil, so it's just pure graphite. And I don't know the hardness of this one. I would say this one kind of looks like maybe it's a 5B. They're fun because you can turn them on their sides. You can use the end. Here we have another graphite pencil. This one's really thick, so you can use that flat end to make large marks, use the edges, you can use the whole side to fill things in. They're a lot of fun. The other thing I have here to draw with is a blender. This is paper that's just rolled up really tight. These are great for blending subtle transitions from dark to light. So if I want to blend this together, I can. If I want to, let's see, I'll use one of these. If I want to make a transition between dark to light and make it really smooth, I can, one, do that with pressure, but the other thing I can do is I can use my blender to smooth it out so that the value vanishes into the white of the paper right there. So those are some ways to use those tools. A great thing to do to get better at shading and drawing and making things 3D is just to practice drawing and practice your pressure. So on this sheet here, this is pure white. If you practice drawing very lightly, pressing harder and harder until you finally get to black, you're going to have a lot more control over drawing with your pencils. And here is one final chart for you, just showing the transition between a 6H all the way up to the ebony pencil. And just so you can see what pencils can do, what graphite can do, here is a drawing I did of a skull, and you can see lots of variation in here, from having the darkest darks, I believe this is 6B, all the way to really light values. So you can do beautiful, subtle things with just a graphite pencil. And some artists, their whole career is just working with graphite pencils. In fact, you could become an expert at just drawing with a number 2 pencil. It's a lot of fun, there's a lot you can do, and I think this is a really great thing to practice as you develop as an artist. So have fun, work with your materials, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks.